Hi, my name is Robert Adams. Our law firm is Robert J. Adams and Associates. I want to talk to you about people who own their homes in Illinois and are considering filing either a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and how the homestead exemption helps you or perhaps even limits you. In Illinois, the homestead exemption is $15,000 for one person. For a married couple who both own the house and live in it, it's $30,000. Let me start out by explaining something, and don't get too worried about it. When anyone files a Chapter 7, a trustee has the obligation to sell assets if they can. So how does this affect a homeowner? Well, I'm going to go through a few examples. And we're going to use Mr. Jones, who owns the house by himself and lives there. And we're going to assume that the market value of the house is $200,000. Well, the payoff balance on the mortgage is $210,000. Obviously, a trustee can't sell the property. What if the payoff balance, though, is only $185,000? That means Mr. Jones has a $15,000 equity. Can the trustee sell the property? No. That's where the homestead exemption comes in. So it's $200,000 minus $185,000 minus $15,000. The trustee can't sell the home. Now we go into a slightly different example where the payoff balance on the mortgage is, say, $170,000. Well, when you do the math, 200 minus 170 minus 15, you have an amount of about $15,000. Can the trustee sell the house? Probably not. Why? Because when one sells a house, there are a lot of costs, such as real estate commissions, title policies, Illinois taxes, and a whole bunch of other stuff. The cost of selling the house would exceed $15,000. So the trustee can't sell the house. Now we go to a different example. We have the value of the house minus the mortgage, minus the cost of selling it, minus the exemption, and there's still money left over. Let's assume it's $20,000. Well, Mr. Jones isn't going to file a Chapter 7. He might file a Chapter 13. In the Chapter 13, he will have to pay up to $20,000 to general unsecured creditors. Let's assume his general unsecured creditors, such as credit cards, medical bills, or whatever, is $60,000. It's always expressed in percentage. The dividend would be between 33 and 34%. Okay, let's go to one more example. In addition to having this excess equity after subtracting everything, he also owes, let's say, $5,000 to the IRS for last year, or he may have a $5,000 child support debt. Well, then the mathematics is you subtract. In the Chapter 13, he will pay the $5,000 over a period of time up to 5 years, but then he only pays $15,000 towards his general unsecured creditors. Then the final example is where, after all the deductions, the equity or the amount available exceeds the amount that he owes unsecured creditors. Then if he files a Chapter 13, he's going to have to pay a dividend of 100%. And he'll probably have to pay some interest, about 3 to 4% or 5%, depending on the time. Okay, I understand this has been rather a dry presentation and possibly a bit confusing. I just will end it with a few more things I want to say. If Mr. Jones is a widower and his deceased wife or spouse is also the owner of the property, the exemption becomes $30,000. I get calls. I don't own a single family home. I live in a 2-flat or a 3-flat that I own. Do I get the benefit of the homestead exemption? And the answer is yes. And it applies if it's a condo, if it's a motor home, or if your property is in a land trust where you're the beneficiary. The other thing is we talked about market value. What is market value? Well, essentially what someone will pay you for your house. How do you determine that? Well, there are a couple websites that give very, very rough estimates. Sometimes you can use them, but sometimes you can't. If there's a problem, it's best to get a commercial certified appraisal. Unfortunately, it costs $100 to $150, but it's better safe than sorry. If you're considering, you're a homeowner and you're considering filing either a Chapter 7 or Chapter 13, you certainly should contact a lawyer experienced in the field. Experienced lawyers know how to use the cost of liquidation and the application of the homestead exemption. Okay, you should understand that a video is not really legal advice, it's general information. If you're considering filing a bankruptcy, Chapter 7 or Chapter 13, you should contact an experienced lawyer who works in the area of consumer bankruptcy. Perhaps you'll call us. Again, my name is Robert Adams. We have offices in Chicago and Waukegan, Illinois. My number where you can usually reach me is area code 312-804-1944. I hope this video has been of some help to you, and we appreciate you watching it. And God bless you.